Indian partners. Second, I think we need to recognize that if we are wanting India to further diversify away from Russia, it will create real sense of vulnerability for India, that if the United States does not look like we are willing to step up in providing things militarily that we have not been able or willing to do in the past, we should have no expectation that India will want to walk away from what has been a very long-term relationship and military reliance. And then third, I do think there are some interesting areas, though. I'd like to start by underscoring 3 essential points about the U.S.-India security partnership. First, a strong U.S.-India partnership is an essential component of deterrence against Beijing. For the United States, a partnership with India provides 2 unique advantages: geography and scale. Over the next 20 years, no other close Asian partner can provide similar industrial and demographic advantages, as well as pressure on China's contested geography. For India, a closer partnership with the United States provides power acceleration, allowing New Delhi to more rapidly address political, industrial, and military disadvantages it will be hard for it to close in the near term. Both Washington and New Delhi are often hesitant to acknowledge our shared need for interdependence, but there are few partnerships that provide as much positional advantage against the PRC. Second, while the U.S.-India partnership will never be an alliance, policymakers should push toward a defense partnership that shares as many alliance-like functions as possible. Our defense partnership has already taken on many functions not dissimilar to U.S. alliances in the past decade. Indian officers now serve at U.S. military commands, we are integrating our defense industrial bases, and our militaries exercise together across all domains, including space. This is a stunning pace of change in a relatively short amount of time. And today, the fundamental challenge to closer defense cooperation is strategic will and political trust. It is not operational constraints. The past year has undoubtedly made those challenges more difficult, but policymakers should not shy away from being ambitious in pushing the outer bounds of the defense partnership. Third, one of the key challenges to building a closer defense partnership will be to reconcile our shared relationships with Pakistan and Russia. Although both the U.S.-Pakistan and India-Russia partnerships have narrowed in the past several years, they can still undermine U.S.-India cooperation, a dynamic that has been particularly apparent over the past year. Neither the United States nor India will give the other a veto over its foreign partnerships, but the need to make difficult trade-offs is likely to grow if we wish to pursue more meaningful information sharing, operational coordination, and technological integration. This will increasingly require frank conversations about the specific activities that each partner views as triggering unacceptable risks to its own interests. It will also necessitate more concerted efforts to align our export control and technology security practices with each other. Looking ahead, defense and technology cooperation can provide ballast in the bilateral relationship as Indian and U.S. policymakers continue to work through what will undoubtedly be challenging conversations related to trade. Over the next year, U.S. security policy toward India should look toward 4 objectives. First, restoring Indian confidence in U.S. support for its military modernization. The May 2025 India-Pakistan crisis created deep concern for New Delhi, both accelerating internal debates about India's requirements for PRC-focused crises, as well as reigniting lingering concerns about U.S. reliability as a security partner. The U.S. has a vested interest in helping India close key gaps in military deterrence against the PRC, but in the absence of confidence in U.S. assistance, New Delhi is likely to lean into indigenization in ways that will slow the pace of its modernization. U.S. policymakers should accelerate efforts to identify additional opportunities to share high-end capabilities, conduct risk assessments on how we could do so, and look for ways to provide India with near-term advantages even as it continues to pursue its long-term indigenization goals. This should include a focus on areas such as air defenses, long-range fires, and undersea capabilities. Second, re-energizing defense industry and defense technology cooperation. Too often, U.S.-India defense industry collaboration stalls out because it focuses on ambitious projects with overly long development timelines. We face the same risks today. The US and India need to refocus their efforts on building deterrence more quickly, accelerating existing defense trade and focusing on near-term innovation priorities. This should include joint drone manufacturing, collaboration on dual-use technologies through the India-US Defense Acceleration Ecosystem, INDUS-X, and exploring legislative efforts to enable license-free defense trade. Third, establishing more frequent high-level bilateral dialogues on China policy. With both President Trump and Prime Minister Modi planning to meet Xi Jinping in 2026, there is real potential for misunderstanding or misalignment on China policy this next year, and that alignment anchors the US-India defense partnership. US policymakers should make it a priority to engage at the highest levels with India, both before and after high-level meetings with the PRC, and to establish new dialogues to better coordinate on China policy. For its part, Congress can play a role by ensuring these conversations are not only held by a small group of executive branch officials, but also include a broader dialogue with Indian politicians and business leaders who can shape the space for US-India defense ties. And finally, leveraging the Quad to expand India's operational coordination with the United States and like-minded allies. Recent tensions between Washington and New Delhi could damper efforts to be ambitious in expanding sensitive bilateral operational cooperation right now. However, recent progress in India's ties with both Japan and Australia could open the aperture for new security cooperation among Quad partners. US policymakers should work with Australia and Japan to identify existing exercises or training activities that could include India, especially in areas with a clear connection to PRC deterrence, such as logistics, maritime surveillance, and anti-submarine warfare. They should also look for new opportunities to extend the geographic reach of allied deterrence by expanding Quad operational activities across a fuller breadth of the Eastern and Western Indo-Pacific region. Commissioners, the US and India have a vested interest not only in their partnership, but also in each other's success. It is important for us to reiterate that to each other. While the past year has exposed underlying fragility in our bilateral partnership, Washington and New Delhi now have an opportunity to recommit to building a more sustainable and resilient partnership. Thank you for your time. I look forward to your questions.